Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. We finally got a chance to test drive the new Land Cruiser 250, and I'd like to share my thoughts on it. I mainly cover the 300 series on this channel, but the 250 is attracting a lot of attention right now, so I was really excited to get behind the wheel. I was able to drive both the gasoline and the diesel models, so this review will cover both. First, let's talk about the features that are common to both models. The front windshield is notably upright, which results in excellent visibility. Compared to the 300 series, even better than the older Prado, the hood is also squared off, with the corners clearly visible, which makes for great maneuverability and aids in driving. It felt much easier to drive than the 300 series. Another striking feature is the electric power steering. The wheel is incredibly light. While you don't notice it much at speed, it's very surprising when you're stopped or making slow turns. Since my 300 series has a hydraulic system, the difference was immediately apparent and much more comfortable. It seems like it will be less tiring on the shoulders. On a general note, compared to the 300 series, I did feel more cabin noise and vibration in both the gasoline and diesel versions. Let's dive into the gasoline model first. The first thing I noticed was the cool engine sound when starting it up. The sound hasn't really changed from the previous Prado 150. So for those who love that engine sound, you'll definitely be happy every time you start the car. In terms of vibration, it's quieter than the diesel, but it's not completely absent. It's the same for the noise. It's quieter than the diesel, but you'll hear the engine rev up during initial acceleration. However, once you get up to speed, the acceleration is smooth, and the noise is no longer an issue. It's really only the initial takeoff that you might notice. The instrument panel features a 7-inch display, which I found to be quite clear and easy to read. The speed is entirely digital, while the tachometer uses a physical meter. I think this is something you just get used to. Now for the shocking part, the displayed fuel economy. After driving about 10 kilometers in the city, the reading was only 5 km/L, 3.1 mile. This is worse than my 300 series, which usually gets around 6 km/L, 3.7 mile on the same roads. However, considering the 250 uses regular gasoline, compared to the 300's premium fuel requirement, the running costs might be about the same. One major disappointment is that the gasoline model lacks driving modes: Sport, Eco, Normal, which the diesel model has. I enjoy changing the driving feel with these modes, so this was a letdown. Nevertheless, for everyday city driving, I found the performance to be perfectly acceptable, even factoring in the opinions that it might be slow. Given the price point, the cost-performance ratio is quite good. Next, let's move on to the diesel model. Note, the footage you see now is only of the gasoline drive. My immediate impression was that it feels exactly the same as the Prado 150 diesel that I previously owned. You can definitely feel the engine vibration inside the cabin, and you hear the distinctive gara-gara sound of the engine, especially at idle and during initial takeoff. It is louder than the gasoline model. However, for those who drive Land Cruisers and other off-road vehicles, this sound is often pleasant, comforting, and nostalgic. It reminds you that you're driving a Land Cruiser. The initial acceleration is a bit sluggish. It feels like a big yokorasho, a slow heave. But once you pick up speed, it's comfortable. In fact, the acceleration feels smoother and more powerful than the gasoline model once you get going. The new 8-speed automatic transmission reduces the shift shock, but due to the increased vehicle weight, it doesn't feel exceptionally fast. I drove the ZX model, which has a larger 12.3-inch instrument display. It is certainly easier to view than the 7-inch display. The head-up display is also present, but I found myself forgetting about it after a while. Finally, the fuel economy. After about 7 kilometers of city driving in Kanazawa, the displayed fuel economy was 11 km/L, 6.8 mile. I was surprised. My old Prado 150 used to get around 10.3 km/L, 6.4 mile on the same roads. This 11 km/L reading is remarkable, especially given the stop-and-go traffic of city centers. When considering the overall running costs, the diesel model is undoubtedly the strongest choice. Toyota should really try to produce more of them. In summary, after driving both, if I were to buy the 250, I would absolutely choose the diesel model. The test drive also made me appreciate the great value of the older Prado. On 50, it was available for around 4 million yen at launch, and I believe its interior quality and comfort aren't inferior to the new model. That said, the new 250 features a significantly changed exterior design with the Toyota grille and options for both. Round and triple headlights, the interior quality has been improved with a larger navigation screen. Updated meters and enhanced safety features. There is no doubt that the latest 250 offers a more comfortable and satisfying ownership experience. However, for those who own the older model, continuing to drive the Prado 150 is still a very valid option. That concludes my brief test drive review of the Land Cruiser 250.